I just put out a video recently about how MyFaction has one big issue, and that it was only supposed to be one big issue, but WWE just released a new patch 1.09, which has unfortunately just ruined MyFaction entirely. So before we get into the MyFaction thing that you've probably already heard about, let's talk about patch 1.09. I'm going to highlight a quick issue that I have with these patch releases, right? So this is now patch 9, essentially 1.09. I think patch 1, or I guess 1.0 would be the game coming out, right? But then there was a patch in the early access. I think it might be 1.2 or 1.3, but either way. So yeah, they just dropped this patch, but there'll be another patch next week, I presume 1.10 or maybe there's going to be a 1.1. I'm not really sure how they're going to do it, but either like a 1.0.0 point whatever, it doesn't matter. Either way, 1.10 presumably coming next week, that comes with the DLC pack, Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, Julia, Stephanie Fakir, and a celebrity guest, which we are assuming is KSI, but I think there was a model of Speed potentially leaked, I Show Speed. So we'll wait and see who is announced for the New Wave pack. With the New Wave pack, we also presume that part 2 of the island will also be dropping, so look forward to that if you're still playing the island. The official patch notes for WWE 2K25 patch 1.09 literally just has these two items. WWE, come on, or not even WWE, 2K, you need to be more communicative with people. Like, I looked on the Discord doesn't even have anything. Like, why are you not giving us the information? It's very frustrating, especially as a content creator, when a patch goes out like this, and you know, it was a fairly substantial patch. It was like 3 gigabytes, and all you can say is general stability, performance improvements, and in universe mode you addressed concerns about a count out being enabled in match types where it shouldn't be within universe. Now, don't get me wrong, this was a real problem. Basically, within universe mode, for battle royals, ladder matches, and stuff that typically wouldn't have a count out, people were getting counted out, and ladder matches would end on a count out, which was insane. But yeah, basically they fixed that now, so that's not going to be a thing moving forward, which is great. I have to say, I do love the support that they're giving 2K25 this year. But when you look online, further out of these patch notes, you'll find that they actually fixed quite a few things. I'll be honest, I don't even know all the things that they fixed, but looking online, there's a whole bunch of stuff that is being approved for you through the feedback feature. You can actually track the live issues and you can look at the things that have been planned or submitted. So edit face tattoos for custom characters, unable to delete custom portraits, that's already been fixed. Superstars entries change when alternate attire is equipped. I think that's also been fixed. I think this is a previous patch, but yeah, this is just some person's tweet basically just saying that yes, you can actually go onto the support forums and see these things that have been approved for future patches. Amazingly, I can't even find a picture of one of the things that they did fix. Sheamus in 1.08 had broken eyelids, apparently. His eyelids were completely white, they had no texture on them whatsoever. In 1.09 they fixed that, so Sheamus's eyes are now fixed. Amazingly though, I don't even see people online talking about that, so I don't even know if anyone even noticed. There is the usual thing of people finding, new moves have been added to the game. There are some hidden animations and stuff that have been added to the game, new models. I think one of the things that I saw was a victory animation for Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. I think there were people saying as well that there are there's like placeholders and stuff for Fraxium, so Fraxium might be getting a new entrance animation or victory animation. A lot of stuff has been added for Penta, I think, so there's a lot of back-end stuff, right, for the preparation and for the future patches coming up. But I think this highlights a problem for me personally. I just think if you're going to patch the game, I played World of Warcraft for like the longest time, right? I've played the World of Warcraft since Burning Crusade, if that means anything to you. I don't even know the year of that, but Burning Crusade was their second expansion. They're now on like their 10th. So yeah, I've been playing World of Warcraft for a very, very long time. And World of Warcraft has a patch culture, right? So they are a digital game. It's always online, and things go wrong, right? Bugs happen, nothing's perfect, and that's totally fine. When it gets released, there'll be a patch that comes out to fix it. There might be a patch to reveal new content. I play Final Fantasy 14 as well. Final Fantasy 14 has a very strict kind of like, I think it's like a 3 or 4 month patch cycle as well, where they fix bugs, but they also continue the story by adding in new story content via the patches as well. Editing Gary here, I forgot to mention the actual point I was trying to get to. World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy both use pretty heavy patches to continue the game and fix it, blah blah blah. But with that, they also release lots of documentation, lots of changes that they've made, pages upon pages of changes. So every single change that they make in those patches gets documented within the patch notes. And typically, whenever a game gets updated, it's pretty normal to have every single update documented in a patch note, but 2K decides not to do that. They just release patch notes that say essentially nothing. So 2K's tried to adapt that approach. You know, they're with the DLC drops, they're going to be releasing a major patch. That's what they did in the previous years, and this year they're also going to be adding in new island content with those DLC packs. At least I presume anyway. It seems like from the initial blog post that they were going to add in the island content at the same time as the season pass content. Now, what isn't listed here and is incredibly frustrating for much of the community is that via World Tour, they've added in a timer to the World Tour matches. Now, what that means is when you're actually attempting to do a World Tour match and say that you accidentally win the match too quickly, you try to load into a new World Tour match and you're going to be met with a timer saying, or you're not going to get a timer, but you're going to be met with a message saying your last match was too quick, you need to wait a minute. So the people online timed it. I think MyFaction guy timed it, and it was like 1 minute 10 seconds. You have to wait 1 minute 10 seconds per match. So basically, the way that this looks to me is there are people like myself who have these things called lives, and 2K doesn't like that, right? So they want us to pay money for MyFaction. I think that's the end of it all, right? You need to pay money for MyFaction to make it relevant. If it's not making money, then the 2K executives go, well, why are we putting development time into this thing that doesn't make money? That MyFaction's whole point is to make money. Every business product in the world is put out in the world to make money. Nobody makes a product because they like you. They make a product because they want you to buy it and make them money. So MyFaction, unfortunately, seems to be caught in the crossfires here because people found out that you could use World Tour to farm MyFaction points, and rightfully so. You know, we talked about this in the last video, but the MyFaction points, or the MFP gain from live events, challenges and stuff, is so small. From the weekly towers, you're going to get something like 5 tokens to maybe 1,000 or 2,000 MFP. 2,000 is pretty generous, to be fair, so kudos for them on that one. But they're one time only. You're not going to be able to get them multiple times. You can only get them once. The challenges only get you like 100 MFP. Some of the live events only get you a couple hundred to 1,000 MFP. And again, we're talking about cards that cost, you know, 50,000 or sometimes more or sometimes less. A lot of the cards that are worth anything, the ones that get you Persona cards, they're going to be worth quite a bit of money and MyFaction points. So before, we were able to generate a certain amount of MFP, probably about, I don't know what the actual number was, about 8,000 or 80,000 per hour, right? But that's been just completely cut in half now that you have to wait after every single match. And basically grinding is just not even feasible anymore. They've completely killed any idea of grinding in the game. You're not going to be able to really effectively generate any amount of MFP in a reasonable amount of time to get any cards that you want, and even then you're gonna have to deal with random chance because the card packs are unfair, and the chances of you pulling the cards that you need for the live events and the Persona cards are going to be so low that you're going to be wasting your MFP on packs. The saving grace here is that they do run encore events, and encore events typically put the cards into the card market. So I was saying before about the Jacob Fatu card. To get the Jacob Fatu card, you had to get a certain Austin Theory. At the time, Austin Theory was only available in the packs. I think it was like the electric packs or something. But when the Encore event was running, you were able to get into the card market. So theoretically, if you put in enough time and you grinded at the points, you were able to get Austin Theory, and you were able to put him into the challenge, get the Jacob Fatu, and then presumably you'd be able to do the Ultimate Challenge and get the Randy Orton card. Now, with them removing the ability to do this kind of these MFP grinds, the only real sound option of you getting MFP at a reasonable pace is to pay money. And look, I mean, that is like the be all end all, right? It's to make money. And I just think it's really unfortunate. I think this year they were so close to getting MyFaction right. They implemented World Tour mode, which I think, World Tour, again, I'll sing its praises from high heaven. I think World Tour is fantastic. I think they've done a great job at the rewards in World Tour. I really enjoy the gameplay styles of World Tour. The way that they've been able to change the gameplay, I think is so interesting. But at the end of the day, they have updated, they've added some new towns to World Tour. The live events are almost impossible for a lot of people. They haven't added in simple accessibility features that are available elsewhere in the game. They haven't updated Faction Wars at all. There are no new rewards for Faction Wars, and the game came out 2 months ago. The weekly towers have been added in every single week, but the rewards for them have been rubbish. I mean, you get 5 tokens 1 week, the next week you get a free agent card you can't even really use. It's completely useless to you. And I feel pretty deflated, actually, because I really think that they were onto something here, but unfortunately it's just 2K business practices just catch up, right? 2K is not a great company. They want to make as much money as possible, and I think this year they probably did increase the budget for 2K25 by putting in all these sponsorships, generating more money through the sponsorships as well, through the island and the real life merchandise. And I guess they want to generate as much money, as much revenue as possible. I mean, that's not just 2K, that's just WWE in general now. That there is a wider conversation here about TKO, their ticket prices, and how shady TKO has been handling business in WWE. And I just think it's a shame that we're in a situation in the games industry where there's constant layoffs for these pretty major companies releasing major releases. We have companies like 2K being exceedingly greedy when it comes to simple gameplay mechanics. I just want to unlock Persona cards. That's all I want to do. Why are you making it so hard, 2K? And then you get the increased prices of games in general. So obviously Xbox just announced that they're increasing their first party prices. The first party releases on Xbox, the exclusive games are going up to like $80 or something. So, and Nintendo's doing the same. PlayStation has kind of already done it, but they'll probably follow suit as well. You know, I was responding to the comments in the other video, and I did kind of explain that I bought the Bloodline edition. I bought the highest collectors, well, not like collectors, I guess, but the highest edition of WWE 2K25 I could get. I was excited for the game. I bought into the hype, and I still think it's a great game. I think they're doing really great stuff at 2K, but I dropped a lot of money on it. I'm fair enough. I am getting all the things that I paid for, but how can you drop over 100 and I don't know what it was, 120 pounds? I don't know what that is in dollars, but I think it was 120 pounds on a digital version of a game that does get me the season pass and some extra content. But then on top of that, you're asking me to spend potentially hundreds on the real world. If I wanted the real world items from the island, I'm also spending a lot of money on that. I have to spend real life money on upgrading my character on the island, or hey look, MyFaction, there's Persona cards, and if I want to unlock them I also have to spend more real world money. And it's just like, what? I bought the highest edition of your game because I want to buy into 2K. I want to buy into WWE 2K. I'm a big fan of it. I don't make these videos because I hate the product. I actually make these videos because I love the product, and it comes out of love. Like I feel so angry about the changes they made to MyFaction because I want to play it. I want to have fun. I want to spend my time unlocking these things, and they've just put up a new barrier, and I'm not going to be able to grind MyFaction points. I don't have the time to wait around for stupid timers, and I'm not going to put any money into it. So I'm going to leave you with this one scenario before we end the video. There's one last scenario that I don't know if 2K thought of. There's a Persona card available, and I've spent time grinding. I maybe don't have as much time as I can to reach the full amount, so I've put in as much time as I can to get as much MFP as I possibly can. The event is ending pretty soon, and I have to do it 4 times. So what if I gain enough MFP almost to the point of being able to get the card market card, but I don't have enough time to do the challenge? What am I going to do in that situation? Am I going to put more time into the game to get to the end and hopefully try and get it in time, potentially? Or am I just going to buy some MFP on the off chance just to kind of speed up the process a little bit? You know, I'll put a little fiver into the game, £5, $5, whatever. I'll put a little bit of money into the game just to speed up a little bit and make sure that I can get the Persona card in time. The answer is, obviously, if I'm running out of time and it's only £5, then yes, I'm absolutely gonna like drop just a little bit of money to speed up the process and make sure I get the Persona card in time. With the changes they made to MyFaction currently, I'm not even gonna bother grinding to get the MFP in the first place, so I'm definitely not gonna put any money towards it. Now, had I been grinding towards a card and maybe I was running out of time, I may have actually dropped some money on. Not only have they done just a bad decision for the game, I argue that it's actually a bad business decision, because I was potentially going to spend some money on the mode and now I'm just not going to spend any. So I'm going to leave you with that. It's a theoretical scenario. It's one that I actually did have leading into one of the previous live events, but let me know how you feel in the comments down below. Do you feel like 2K has kind of burnt a bridge here a little bit? Now, don't get me wrong, they have the time to change it back. It's only 2 months into the release. They can change it. I hope they will, but realistically they probably won't. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. I do have a playlist down here, here. If you want to see more 2K25 videos. That's going to be us for today. Thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.